Hello, I am Arthur Chokhotho with Business Digest. Coming up in the next half hour, parliamentary clusters continue to scrutinize the 2024-2025 national budget in Lilongwe. And high cost of exporting logistics and lack of access to finance are said to be main challenges hindering growth of the mining sector. Stick around for a full package of business and economic stories. Parliamentary clusters continue to scrutinize the 2024-2025 national budget in Lilongwe. Well, the budget was presented to Parliament on Friday last week by Minister of Finance, Simplex Chichola Banda. But what is in the national budget?
The 2024-2025 national budget has been pegged at 5.9 trillion kwacha, of which recurrent expenses are estimated at 4.12 trillion kwacha, representing 22.5% of GDP and 70.4% of total expenditure and development expenditure for the 2024-2025 financial year is estimated at 1.77 trillion kwacha, standing at 30% of the national budget. Key assumptions anchoring the budget are real GDP growth rate of 3.6%, average inflation rate of 23.4%, and tax refunds of 3.0% of total tax collection. In the budget, total revenue and grants for the 2024-2025 fiscal year are estimated at 4.55 trillion kwacha, representing 24.3% of GDP. Domestic revenues are estimated at 3.38 trillion kwacha, representing 18.1% of GDP, of which tax revenues are estimated at 3.26 trillion kwacha, and other revenues have been projected at 126.54 billion kwacha. Grants are estimated at 1.17 trillion kwacha, of which 1.10 trillion kwacha will come from international organizations and 72.69 billion kwacha from foreign governments. In the national expenditure, the health sector has taken the lion's share of 729.47 billion kwacha, seconded by agriculture at 497.75 billion kwacha. Among other allocations, transport and ICT have been given 439.64 billion kwacha, Affordable Input Program AIP has been given 161.28 billion kwacha, while ADMAC has been allocated 40 billion kwacha for restructuring and production operations. Economics Association of Malawi Acting President Bertha Shigadza said it is pleasing to see a budget that has placed production, manufacturing and value addition at its heart.
We've seen that it's actually a tough budget, but also a very ambitious one. For the first time, we've seen, development allocation getting at least 30% of the budget after quite a very long time. And we've also seen that, there is some inclusion of non-tax measures just to increase the revenues that the government actually collects. And so for us, we are seeing a couple of things that it's a plus. In a previous interview, I was talking about, expecting the budget to align to SONA, which we have also seen, and putting an emphasis on the ATM strategy. So we've also seen that actually they have actually pumped some resources into enlarging maybe the works of the mega farms into the agriculture sector, the mining. We've seen, they're peeling some acts and also putting another one. And also the tourism sector is attracting a lot of attention just to make sure that it's contributing a lot to GDP. So for us, we are seeing that, this is quite something that we can hope for as an economy. And also we've seen some measures that the government has put in place. For example, they are taxing importation of finished products, for example, in terms of foods. What are they trying to do is that they want people to import raw materials. That's one way of actually trying to make sure that industries are functioning, because they want raw materials for the industries and not importing finished goods. So for us as economists, we see that that's also something good that we can hope for as we are trying to recover the economy.
Malawi has aspirations to become an inclusively wealthy and self-reliant nation by 2063. The dream is being championed by the National Planning Commission, NPC. NPC Director General Thomas Mundhali said the budget has spoken to the Malawi 2063 agenda and expressed hope that what has been said in the budget will be implemented with seriousness.
To be very fair with the budget, it's sending a very good signaling effect in terms of us laying the foundations as a nation to get to the wealth creation agenda. And what is even more exciting is that it was really talking to what the president said, because the president was like setting the tone for the priorities for the nation, and how to operationalize those priorities is the national budget. And what it also means is that this national budget is sending a signal not just to government, ministries, departments and agencies, but non-state actors, that we are now getting serious as a nation to start to begin to create wealth. Not just at the national level, but even at the centralized levels, at the local government level. And so what is going to be very key is that we need to have the Ministry of Finance following through with the ministries, departments and agencies, that making sure that the monies that they've been given is being utilized for what it's been given for.
World Bank Country Manager Hugh Riddle says the budget carries hope of economic recovery.
And asks that question, are we seeing any changes in the macroeconomic picture, particularly given the major reform efforts that were delivered at the end of last year? The country's moved on to an ECF program with the IMF. We've restarted budget support from the World Bank side. What are the impacts on daily lives for most Malawians?
In his State of the Nation address, SONA, President Dr. Lazarus Chakwera said going forward, government will leverage on what he described as the ATM strategy to make sure that the country is food secure, wealth and jobs have been created. The strategy leverages on agriculture, tourism and mining to recover, develop and protect the economy. He called for seriousness from not only government ministries, departments and agencies, MDAs, but the private sector and citizens to make sure that the ATM strategy bears desirable fruits.
Now, 4 months have gone since Simplex Chicholabanda was appointed Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs. Now we put his performance under microscope, and I am joined by Justin Mkweu of Business Digest. Justin, what a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
It's now 4 months down the line since the appointment of Simplex Chicholabanda as Minister of Finance. He was actually appointed on, should be 7th October 2023.
Yes.
And one of his priority areas was to deal with the pressure points that the Treasury or the Ministry identified to be 4 of them, 4 Fs.
Yes. So the minister, when he arrived, he said that he had disorganized the economy, and then he looked at 4 pressure points that were troubling the economy by then. He said the first one was forex, then there was fertilizer, then there was food, then there was fuel. He said these were the 4 main things that they were troubling the economy. These were the diseases that were infecting the economy. So his first priority was that he should deal with these 4 Fs. This was not a strategy. He repeatedly says this, that this was not a strategy. These were problems that were identified to be affecting the economy. In terms of forex, as we know, the country had insufficient forex by then. Import cover was less than half a month, meaning that if we are, as Malawians, to import rigorously, to import everything, including non-essential goods, we would only last about 15 days, and then our reserves would be down to 0. So that was the first problem that he identified, to say the country has insufficient forex. And then he identified the second problem.
Okay, before you go to forex, there was also another problem, you know, the widening gap between the official rate and the parallel rate.
Yes.
What impact or what effect did it have on the availability of forex?
Yes, so the widening gap mostly affects the private sector, because what happens is that when they are purchasing goods, raw materials, for example, let's say there's a company which is purchasing raw materials. What it means is that they will be purchasing those raw materials at a black market rate. Well, when they are selling the finished goods that they have done, they will be selling those finished goods at a lower rate, which is the TT rate. So what happens with that is that when you purchase raw materials and the whole production, you are doing it at a higher price. But when you are selling that, when you are exporting that, you are exporting it at a lower price. Then that causes a loss.
And so, moving on to another F?
To another F, it was about fuel. So the fuel, we all know we import fuel 100% in Malawi. We import fuel. So because there was insufficient foreign exchange, then there was a problem of fuel. You could see some months ago where there were queues in filling stations, people queuing to have fuel. So he said the second problem was fuel. And then the other one was about food. So the food part was mostly about prices. The first reason for that was that by the time of his appointment in October, and then we go to November, mostly we have started the lean period, whereby people have harvested, people have sold their produce and everything. So this is the start of the lean period, and the prices go up. So there were prices going up, and because of a threat of food insecurity, that's why he said there is a threat of food. Yes.
And then another F, fertilizer.
Fertilizer. Yes. So the issue of fertilizer, again, borders on the foreign exchange. The first F, because most of chemical fertilizer in Malawi, we import. So if we have insufficient foreign exchange, then it means we will have insufficient fertilizer. And by that time, remember, the season, the farming season for Malawi had started October, November. People are preparing their land, and people are preparing to purchase seed, to purchase fertilizer, and then we have insufficient foreign exchange. It means that the importation of fertilizer was affected. That's why the country faced the fourth F, which is fertilizer.
And I also remember government was also uncertain on where to get that fertilizer. That was another issue. And well, after that, the minister led a team that devised a plan known as RDP.
Yes.
Recover, develop,
and protect.
If on recover, what I remember is that they are focusing on restructuring debt, managing it, and then
the other issue was about realigning the kwacha. We remember in November there was the devaluation. That was part of recovery. The economy needs to recover, but for it to recover, we need to realign the kwacha so that the black market rate and the official rate should be at the same level, so that we should export more and have more dollars. So that devaluation that happened was part of a recovery. Yes.
Yeah, and perhaps one thing Malawi should understand is that, well, realigning the kwacha was part of the reforms that were to be done, because like Chichola said, he had the intention to take the economic status of the country to the populace. So there was need for people to understand that such reforms, the realignment, were actually targeting on meeting international standards, so that we should have access to things that we need, supports that we need from organizations. And
in fact, the realignment, when it happened, the Malawi Confederation of Chambers of Commerce and Industry described it as long overdue. What they meant is that in the past, before the realignment, they had written government. They had written government, and of course, they had produced a paper to the press saying that they were begging the government to say, please, please, we are making losses. As I indicated earlier on, to say that without the realignment, businesses were making losses. Now, they were pleading with the government to say, please, please, we are making losses.
So that's why
you realign the kwacha, please.
That's where the issue of sugar coating comes from. It was already
it was already something that should happen. In fact, even the MIM, Malawi Economic Monitor, an analysis by the World Bank, has indicated that the delays in realigning the kwacha was affecting the private sector. World Bank believes probably the devaluation would have happened earlier, but the government was trying to say, no, we will realign the kwacha, but let's make sure, like the Reserve Bank governor said, that unless we have an instrument that if we realign the kwacha, then this instrument will carry us to have enough forex, then we should realign the kwacha. That's why they said that we should realign the kwacha at this point.
Okay, and another thing that is worth noting is that we're servicing these debt to make them sustainable is actually crucial.
Yes.
Yeah, because Malawi needs to have that profile whereby it is accessing markets. And we all know that when a country is failing in its financial obligation, there are dangers to growth and development because well, we cannot be trusted. The borrowing costs actually become high. Then we come to development.
Yes.
On development.
Yes. Now, the minister says that with the 4 Fs, after being found to say that the economy is suffering from these 4 Fs, and then the recover develop and protect strategy in place, the economy is taking the right direction. The economy is taking the positive trajectory. And he said that there are 6 signals of the economy that it is taking the right trajectory.
Okay.
The first one.
Before you go to the signals.
Yes.
I understand there are some new avenues that were explored to inject into the economy.
Yes.
What are these?
So these avenues are part of the signals that are happening. Such avenues, one of them include the labor export, whereby now we are exporting labor to Israel, for example, whereby monthly we are able to have remittances in amount of $400,000.
That was only the first month.
That was only the first month.
And that is close to 1 billion, 40 million.
Yes. So if we are to take that route, it means that if those remittances would increase, we are continuously dealing with the first F of forex. And these 6 signals of economic recovery. One is forex. Today, as we are speaking, we indicated that by October we had the import cover of less than half a month. But now, according to the minister, we have forex that is import cover that is over a month. Yes. The second thing is fuel. You agree with me. We traveled recently over the weekend. We traveled to Lilongwe. We were not worried.
No queues.
We could stop anywhere and we could refill our car. What that means is that the problem of fuel has been dealt with. Inflation, food inflation, which was the other F. The prices of food have started going down. You agree with me? Recently, a 50 kg bag of maize was around 45,000.
Actually, 50,000.
Yes, but now if you go on the market, you find it at 32,000 kwacha, 30,000 kwacha. Yes, so we are going there whereby there is a drop, and the other signal is the ECF itself. Remember, there was the extended credit facility which the IMF has approved to say that the country should have the extended credit facility, and that has also opened doors, and that brings us to the other signal, which is the direct budget support. Yes, the World Bank has indicated that they will now start pumping into the budget directly money. This is for the first time since 2017, and we should remember that these donors, these development partners, we are not convinced with the policies then that they should be pumping in money direct into the budget. So what they were doing is that they were pumping in money into the country, but using organizations, using their own projects. But now they said no. With what the country has taken, the economic stance that the country has taken,
reforms and the realignment.
Yes. We will take our money and pump it direct into the budget because we have trust that this money will be used rightly.
Wow. Quite some analysis.
Well,
thank you so much, Justin, and our Business Digest continues. We will continue giving you such analysis that are beneficial for our economic knowledge. In the budget, government has shown commitment to develop the tourism industry by allocating 4.8 billion kwacha, which will be anchored by the 20-year National Tourism Investment Master Plan and a domestic tourism market strategy. Now, this is expected to boost the productivity of the sector. With these resources, government, among others, plans to develop an integrated resort at Cape Maclear in Mangochi and Salima, waterfront in Kada Bay, an activity center in Nikoma, and an integrated cable car resort in Mulanje. Now, the news has excited players in the hospitality industry, including Amaryllis Hotel. General Manager for the hotel, Rami Wahid, speaks to our reporter, Simeon Boyce.
Personally, I'm very optimistic of the approach has been taken by the government towards the hospitality and the tourism sector. I mean, it's a treasure. It's a treasure. Need to be utilized very well in Malawi. Malawi it has a very beautiful landscapes, destinations, warm-hearted people. That it's the right time now to use all these elements in order to make revenue and money here in Malawi.
You're watching Business Digest with me, Arthur Chokhotho. Stick around for more. The high cost of exporting logistics and lack of access to finance are said to be main challenges hindering growth of the mining sector. Now, this is according to Chikomeni Manda, managing partner for Perekezi Consultant. He made the sentiments in Lilongwe during a mining stakeholder forum, which was organized by Air Cargo Limited, and he hinted on the need for mining authorities to look at possible ways of promoting the sector, which has been highlighted among priorities for economic growth for Malawi in the Malawi 2063 development agenda. He later spoke to Mwaim Tumodzi of Business Digest.
Yeah, this is very crucial because, as you know, mining is one of the main pillars for the economy, as the President said in the recent opening of Parliament. So Air Cargo engaging mining stakeholders, it's a very good step forward because Air Cargo is an integral part of the value chain, since they help a lot in logistics. So it's really a good thing that they're engaging partners in the mining sector.
What are some of the challenges that you think this meeting should address?
The main challenge is logistics in Malawi is very, very expensive.
In response, Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Mining, Dr. Joseph Mkandawire, said government was committed to facilitate opportunities the mining sector has for investors. However, he expressed need for collaboration and huge investment in mining.
There are several key issues, but the most important one is that the miners who are exporting, they should know what is prevailing in the law. And that is key because even buyers outside, they need to know where the products are. Some of the products, they are under treaties, and those treaties are traceable elements. So they would want to know where the mines are coming from, the minerals are coming from. Secondly, we are trying to encourage people to avoid smuggling the minerals, because when you smuggle, those production statistics are not recorded in the national accounts.
On his part, Frank Kunje, Account Relationship Manager for National Bank of Malawi, assured that the mining sector is poised to develop. He said the banking sector realizes the role mining plays in the economy. Kunje said, among other things, mining offers a more direct way of ending forex challenges.
As you'd recall very well from the Malawi, the strategy 2063, mining has actually come out very clear as a very strategic tool to the development of the country. And as National Bank, we haven't just been idle. We thought it's also an opportunity that we can help our clients, especially the small and medium enterprises that are actually embarking into the mining sector.
And for Toko Unyolo, Chief Executive Officer for Air Cargo Malawi, the forum offered trade facilitation opportunities within the mining sector.
So the issues that I want this meeting to address is, number one, for the banks to share what are some of the trade facilitation opportunities that they have that the miners can tap into. Number two, it's for the miners to also share in terms of what is it that is required from exploitation to extraction to equipment. If, let's say, today even yourself wants to start a mining business.
Standard Bank has applauded the Malawi University of Science and Technology, MUST, for devising a satisfactory report on the use of endowment funds. Well, this is on the sidelines of the bank's commitment towards supporting human capital development. Standard Bank is on the verge of fulfilling its contribution to the Malawi University of Science and Technology Mast Endowment Fund. Well, the fund is part of the university's financial sustainability strategy, and Standard Bank has just made its third donation of 20 million kwacha, which is part of the 80 million kwacha it pledged to give. Graham Chibande is head of business and commercial clients at Standard Bank.
I think we were really pleased today to see the efforts that the fund is going to be able to contribute to, but also the discipline and the efforts made by the board in terms of managing the fund, and what an impressive performance. I think if you remember when they set out to establish an endowment fund, it was that the principle itself should remain intact and it's only the invested income that should then be used to benefit the students. And we're very pleased to see that the contribution of the invested income based on what we have donated so far is performing very well. And we're very pleased to hear that this year, MAST is actually considering a distribution to assist needy students.
And Vice Chancellor for MAST, Professor Adres Malata, says endowments are key in helping Malawi to achieve a professional human resource that will foster wealth creation.
So we're very excited as an institution that Standard Bank have honored their pledge for the endowment fund, which is at 80 million, but today we've got 20 million. And I think, as you have seen in our report, their endowment is growing. So it was at 40, we're already at 63, and it means when they've given us this 20, the endowment fund is still growing.
A new brand on the transportation scene has been introduced. Royal Coach springs from AGSA Coaches, whose longtime bigwig has been Mark Katonga. Well, Katonga says the new development comes as a business pass on to a new generation, because he says he believes big businesses world over have stood the test of time because of continuity. Well, Business Digest also spoke to Managing Director of Royal Coach, Isaac Zuze, to learn how their scheme will go about its business.
We are starting with 2 buses deliberately, and if you can see the buses, they are 9-meter long. They are not the usual 12-meter long buses for economical reasons as well. It only takes 41 people, passengers, which means it will not be very difficult for it to fill. At the same time, with the technology we've put in place for online booking, we do believe that it will be very easy for people to get to booking their tickets. So we are only starting with 2 for now to allow the business to go through the stages of growth. So mid-year, we're looking into extending. Like I said earlier, we are looking into making these a household name as well, embracing culture in Malawi.
And now let's take a look at how the Malawi kwacha is faring against other foreign currencies. Well, today's inspirational quote, we are saying, experience is the greatest teacher, although the expenses are too high. Who said that? Search me. But it's captivating and quite inspirational. Well, that's it for this week's edition of Business Digest. From me, Arthur Chokhotho, thanks for watching. Think business, develop yourself, and develop the country. Keep watching MBC TV.